Welcome into this Wednesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio. We will discuss Jerrion Ealy a little bit today. Also, former Ole Miss center Eli Johnson has entered the transfer portal. He opted out of the season the day before fall camp. Today, reported by pretty much everybody that he is in the portal. So those the main topics going on around Ole Miss sports. Had Zoom interviews a little earlier with players, so that's what's on top today for the show that's brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. You can download the Speed Pass Plus app at any Blue Sky location in Mississippi. It is the easiest way to fill up and get on your way there at the Oxford Exxon and more. Like I said, we've talked about the Boudin. They've got the $4.99 specials. A lot of stuff there at the Oxford Exxon and all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. And the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around, or you can do what I've done multiple times, and that's hop into a Clark Ford. You will love the service. You'll love the vehicle, of course. You'll love everything about dealing with Clark Ford. Corey and the people there want to be your truck dealer. They want to be your car dealer. They'll prove that to you when you make the call, 662-257-1900. Working on some guests for later in the week. And when we get them, they'll join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters on the Square is open. Rafters on the Water is open. What's today? Wednesday. So they start opening today through Sunday. They'll be open today at 3:30 till 10. Thursday the same. Then Friday through Sunday, 11 to 10. There at Rafters on the Water. They have drink specials, po' boys, shrimp, burgers, basically everything. It's a big party. And it's a big party on the Square as well. You can go in and watch NBA playoffs, Major League Baseball, and it won't be long before there's some football on your screen to watch as well. They're at Rafters on the Square.
I mean, obviously it's high. What's your confidence level? We're gonna start the season or get through the season. We do this occasionally. We haven't done it in a week or so, and it's exactly 1 month prior to the season today. So where you at?
Oh, we're going to play.
You feel good about it?
Yeah.
Other sports going to play?
Well, someone's going to have to be the scapegoat for the kids acting so badly.
So you don't think they're going to play?
The people who don't see me, I'm rolling my eyes. I don't know. If you told me that a lot of the seasons get moved to the spring, I'd buy it. It makes sense.
Because the championships have been stopped already.
And we've said this all along. They were going to play football before they played anything. I don't even think they'll start basketball until 9/10 or all of the football season is in the books.
Over under December 1st for the first basketball game.
Ooh. You just put the date that I would have used as the date.
Shocked.
Yeah. It's almost like we have conversations. I'd go over.
You go over later than earlier.
I mean, if you told me December 2nd,
okay.
Yeah. I mean,
but you think there's a delay in the season?
I don't think they play in November.
Okay.
Hope they do. Hope I'm wrong.
If I went January 1st, you'd go under.
But yeah, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are non-conference games played?
A few.
Tournaments in strange locations?
I doubt it.
Ole Miss's games have been moved to Niceville or Niceville or however you say it.
Niceville, I think is how you say it. I'd bet against it. Hope I'm wrong. I want him to play. For the people who don't know, if you go, oh, God, he's one of those Corona bros. No, I want him to play tomorrow. But if you're asking me what I think, that's what I think.
A lot of people freaking out around the Ole Miss campus. 2 floors of a dorm have been told to quarantine at this point. Nobody was really sure exactly where to go. And then I don't think there's any issue. I've kind of tried to check on it. There's a lot of rumors around athletics, but nothing that I necessarily know. So if we hear something, great, whatever. But I don't know. Yeah.
So what do they do with the two floors worth of kids.
Well, there's quarantine housing. I don't know how that works. I have no clue. There is quarantine housing, or essentially, I think you would be given the option to go home and do remote or virtual or whatever you call it.
These kids sick?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No clue. The percentage
I gotta tell you, this deal about going into the dorms and testing the whole damn dorm is virus hunting. I'm glad that my kid doesn't go to a school that's virus hunting right now.
And I don't know if that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I have no. I think what's happened is kids are going to the student health center, getting tested, and then they're tracing back to the dorms. Is what I think. I don't think they're doing blanket dorm test. I think kids are going and getting tested. That is my interpretation of what is going on, at least. So I don't know. Maybe Brown too. I heard Martin. I mean, I have no idea if that's true or not.
Okay.
That's what I was told.
Which one's Brown? I don't know. It's been a long time.
You got like you know where like Stockard and Martin are, and you know like where the residential colleges are, and that's about all I remember at this point.
Yeah, that's about all I know too.
Yeah.
People ask me like Ole Miss campus questions sometimes. I'm like, man, I don't go to campus.
It has been a long time, other than like taking the kid to school, on like just driving around the campus. I mean, I haven't done that in a long. I mean, Carly Ann goes to Willie Price, but like otherwise,
someone on the chat says Brown is by the Union. I now know which one Brown is. It's if you're walking out of the side entrance of the Union, it's down the hill on the left.
Okay. So yeah, not
old as something by the Union around Crosby and stuff. I know where it is now.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. This is what we're kind of. I'm doing a couple things while we're talking and while we're doing the show. So again, if anything happens, then great, I'll let you know. But as of now, I'm not aware of anything. Look, this was going to happen. That's the thing, is how you respond to it, to me, because as long as whatever you do, as long as you had planned for it, knew it was going to happen, and then had a process to continue along your path, okay. I'm pretty okay with that. It's the doing this, acting like you didn't know what the result was going to be, and then acting like the world is ending and pulling everybody out and stop, and I have a problem with. I mean, if it's part of your plan, great, but otherwise you shouldn't have started to begin with. So that's what we'll see as this thing kind of moves forward. I think. I don't know. So anyway.
You know what I think about it.
I guess where I'm a little stuck here on it is, in this instance, it's on. And again, I'm not telling kids not to get tested if you're having symptoms. That's not what I'm saying. But the school has to put a system in place to allow people to get tested, and at the end, they're completely. There's nothing they can do at that point once people are getting tested or not getting tested or whatever's happening at that, as long as you have the plan in place to what to do with them if they are positive, or what their contact tracing looks like. I guess that's the point. So anyway, I did see Stuart Mandell's kind of apology. Mark asked that in the
I've been working. I don't know.
You haven't seen this?
No, I was writing about.
Okay,
I got on a Zoom call, so I'll take you through my morning since you and I talked. I did Peloton. I finished my mailbag. Okay. I worked on this Brandon Huntley Hatfield thing a little bit. Jumped on the Zoom. Finished the Zoom. We talked to Jerrion Ealy and Ryder Anderson. Went ahead and wrote the Jerrion story. It's out at rebelgrove.com, which is part of the Rivals Network. You can join at rebelgrove.com. So no. And then you came over, and literally you got here as I was finishing the story. So no, fill me in.
Okay, so you have followed Stuart Mandell's Twitter crusades the last couple of weeks, I assume. You've seen those around a little bit?
I know that he has been very concerned about our ability to survive this as a society.
Okay. So yeah, I think that's fair. He was catching a lot of heat from people about his actions on Twitter, his words, what he's been doing.
Mm-hmm.
So he let off his mailbag today. It's not overly long. I'll just read it.
Yeah.
Time. You want to read it?
Yeah, take your time. I'd like to hear it.
Okay. He says, before I get to your questions this week, I want to address something that's been weighing on me and many of you. Writing and tweeting about college football in the time of COVID-19 has been the greatest challenge in my career because the topic is so emotional and has become so divisive. Do you say divisive or divisive?
I think it's divisive, but I think divisive works.
Okay. I've been accused at times of being too negative, or even that I'm trying to bring down college football due to some political agenda. Up until recently, I mostly brushed off those comments. Once in a while, I would snap back. But over the last couple of weeks, the tenor intensified, both from myself and my readers' followers. I've caught myself on a few occasions having to delete tweets that were just plain condescending. On Monday, after the preseason AP poll came out, I published a seemingly fun and innocuous piece making predictions on how the now-canceled marquee September matchups would have transpired. When the comments section quickly deteriorated into angry readers blaming me for the cancellations and in the comments getting lots of thumbs ups, it was time to stage a self-intervention. The simplest explanation I can give you is this. I still got a lot of fears about COVID-19, both for myself and my family members. I live in a part of the country, California, that is still being super cautious. Bars and indoor dining never reopened. Outdoor gatherings are still severely limited. And every university in my time zone has canceled football. So it definitely feels far.
I wonder why that is, by the way.
That they have?
Yeah, I wonder why California is doing this, because their numbers from a coronavirus standpoint are not very high at all. I don't know. Could it be, and this is just a hypothesis, Gavin Newsom has a political agenda and that a very prominent House of Representatives member in the state of California might have an agenda as well? I'm just asking. Is that possible? Continue.
Well, and the fact that when this all started, I mean, Lane even said it. If anybody said, hey, what's the one conference that might do something, the Pac-12 was, I mean, nobody even blinked.
No.
It was, hey.
We talked about this.
We were mostly shocked the Big Ten was as close to them as they were.
Well, when
frankly.
the Big Ten did it, the day the Pac-12 did it, I was like, oh, that's no big deal. The Big Ten, I was like, whoa, really?
Yeah. They're over there. Huh. Okay. So anyway. He says, have canceled football. So it definitely feels foreign and alarming when I see pictures, videos of students at bars or news that a school is going to be allowing 20,000 fans at its games. And so I'm probably projecting some of my own fears in my tweets, comments about that kind of stuff. Although my concerns
This is fast becoming a courageous column.
Although my concerns aren't going away yet, I don't think I've done a good job of taking the time to understand and accept the reality that is necessary. That my reality is not necessarily the same as many of yours. I'm aware that in the South and elsewhere, people are increasingly returning to regular life, albeit in mask. High schools are playing football games. My brother's 90s party band in Cincinnati played in front of a socially distanced crowd at a bar last weekend. For many people, myself included, college football returning will be the most seminal milestone yet. And though I assure you I have neither the desire nor the influence to prevent that from occurring, I haven't been reading the room with some of my more flippant tweets recently. So what do you say we hit the reset button? While I'm not going to stop reporting, commenting on pertinent COVID-related news, I'm going to be more mindful of my tone. Also, there are games being played barely more than a week from now. We at The Athletic are rolling out a lot of preseason, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here's the question.
He works for who?
The Athletic.
The Athletic. So what happens to The Athletic if there are no athletics?
It's probably a detriment to their business plan.
Man, I'm telling you, I'm going to need a moment. You talk. I'm going to need to compose myself.
So here's the question. I don't think Stewart woke up this morning and said, hey, here's what I'm going to write today. So was that his bosses going, hey, chill the F out? Was that losing subs? Was that subs threatening? What do you feel like was the main catalyst to this? All of it?
Yes.
All those things? Because I don't think he just woke up and decided today's the day we're going to throw the mea culpa in the mailbag.
Today's the day I'm going to abandon the rest of my media army. No. People said, look, here's the difference between those guys and you and me. No, I'm being serious.
I know.
What did we say all along? I said it's not about wanting football. Do I want football? Hell yeah, I want football. For a lot of reasons. I mean, let's be real for a minute. Can we just be totally real? I want Oxford High School to play football. Why? I know some of the boys. I want them to play. I know my daughter wants to dance. I know her friends want to dance. They can't dance at a football game if there's no football game. I understand that football drives that ship. Caroline's best friend is a cheerleader. She wants to cheer. It's her senior year. Of course they want to cheer at the football games. I want there to be football. Now, I need there to be football. Why? Why do I need there to be football? Because I cover football for a living. If there's no football, look, I got through 5 months of I went and picked up Campbell at Arkansas March the 14th. Mm-hmm. What's today, August the 26th? 6th. It's been a minute. As you know, the baseball season canceled. There was no spring football. We had plans. We were going to milk spring football. We were going to create some stuff for spring football. That was an Ole Miss baseball team that was probably going to, at a minimum, host a regional. We were going to milk that. Instead, I wrote about coronavirus for 5 months. And I was scared. There was a Saturday, I don't know when it was, early August, where I thought this thing's getting canceled. The day that Laura and the kids went to Birmingham.
So you yo-yoed for a little while, for a couple weeks there of, oh, crap, maybe we're okay. I mean, it was some bad days.
You checked out that Saturday because you knew it was bad.
That's right.
I mean, you did what you do when it's bad. Usually I'm out.
Yeah.
And I went and got in the pool and sat there and drank beer. And thought,
I went and played golf for 36 hours and said, I'll deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah. I went out and read Stephen King to get in a better mood.
That still cracks me up.
We need football. I mean, can we make it without football on this site? Yeah, I think we'll survive. We'll get through it, but the difference is we've been honest about it. I've told people, I need football. I want there to be football. I need there to be football. That is not – we're working on some stuff. Is our football coverage going to look different this year? Yeah, it's going to look different. That's fine. It's different now. We haven't been to a practice. I don't think we're going to go to a practice. We do Zooms. We're getting acclimated to the Zooms. Like today was the first day that I figured out on the Zoom that you get to ask a follow-up question. I didn't realize that. It's all good. We're figuring it out. It's new. It's fine. It's a little clunky, but Ole Miss is doing a great job. Their media relations people, they're telling us what time. They've been basically on time for the last week or so. It's all good, but we need football. I don't know why it's so hard for some of the national media people to, for lack of a better word, cheer for football to happen. Now, and I realize I'm on a little bit of a rant here. I'm not trying to be. I'm also I consider myself, believe it or not, an empathetic person. If young people were dying on football fields from the coronavirus, if we were here, and we would be hearing it, if these contact practices were resulting in severe cases of coronavirus, I would immediately say, guys, we can't play football. We just can't do this right now. But there were a whole lot of people in the national media, multiple people, not just Mandel, multiple people, who jumped on their high horse very early in this and said, anyone who believes that we can play football is basically just a redneck stooge. Made fun of the South. Remember that? 40 wrote his thing about if there's no football, it's all President Trump's fault. Oh, that's not political. And I'm not a Trump guy. You going to blame the loss of a football season on one person? You're out of your mind. But now, as we sit here on August the 26th, and by any measurable standard, the virus is declining because it's begun to run its course. Now some of these guys are getting pushback. In these Big Ten markets, there's a lot of pushback. And the pushback, frankly, sounds more intelligent than the people who want to shut it down. Today's August the 26th. The season starts 1 month from today. Here's the truth. There was no reason for the Big Ten to shut down 2 weeks ago, whenever that was. There was no reason for them to shut down 2 weeks ago. They could have done what the SEC's done. I said this on Pat Dooley's show in Gainesville yesterday. The SEC, to this moment, has yet to come out with an emphatic statement that says, we are going to play. Mm-hmm. Now, do I think they're going to play? Absolutely do. But all the SEC has said to this point is, we are going to continue to prepare for the season as if we're going to play, and we will evaluate the situation with the virus as it goes on. NC State just yesterday had to hit the pause button. And immediately the national media goes, whoa, look, shut it down. And all they did was say, hey, we're not going to play on the 12th. We're going to push that game back to the 26th. Everything's okay.
Vanderbilt came back to practice after 5 days off. They took 5 days off and came back.
And now they'll go from 0-10 to 0-10, and they're going to be fine. But they did. One of the kids came back.
Yeah.
That was one of the most amazing things. One of their linebackers opted back in.
Mm-hmm. One of their better players.
One of their better players. But he opted back in because he said, hey, you know what? I took a step back. I wasn't comfortable. No one criticized him. Mm-hmm. They all make fun of people like you and me who are pro football. You and I have never criticized a kid who opted out. And I won't. If you don't feel comfortable playing, then don't play. The NCAA, I think, has done the right thing. They've said, hey, no one's going to lose a year of eligibility. I don't really know how that's all going to work from a scholarship standpoint. But we're not going to punish anyone. But this kid, I can't think of his name right now. He's a linebacker. He opts back in. Where's the national news on that? Where's the headlines on that? They don't exist.
I saw it in one place, and that was it. Nowhere else. So, and now you're starting to get real-world ramifications at a lot of levels. I mean, I mentioned right before we started the show today that they had a Zoom call or teleconference or whatever on the Pac-12 network, and they furloughed 88 people, I believe, today, something like that, through the Pac-12 network, because there are no sports.
If your job is to televise Pac-12 sports, and then there are no sports in the Pac-12, it gets iffy.
I didn't know this. I mean, we're gonna move on. I got a couple different things. Just seeing here, Jeff Duncan, who covers the Saints.
Yeah.
He says, as a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame selection committee, I tried to nominate Marcus Colston as a first-year eligible candidate this year, but he did not qualify for the ballot because, amazingly, he didn't register a Pro Bowl, an All-Pro, or an All-Conference selection during his entire career.
Marcus Colston didn't?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had no idea.
One of the best wide receivers I ever covered.
Back in the day, that first year, fantasy just freak because they didn't know what he was going to play when he came out of Hofstra, and he was eligible as a tight end that first year. So you got him in his rookie year as a tight end on the.
I remember his rookie year.
Oh, he was. I mean,
covered his training camp.
It was the 06 year, right? It was the Bears year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He turned heads that whole year.
Yeah, he and Breeze and Bush, and that was all that first group.
Yeah. They were good.
Tracy Porter was on that was a draft class out of that class, I feel like.
Is that right?
I think he was like the second round pick. Yeah, I want to say that's correct. So yeah. Anyway, I had no clue. I would have assumed he at least would have made one of those during the course of his.
Yeah, I would have too. I would never have guessed that.
Yeah.
So he's not eligible to be a Hall of Famer.
Not eligible to be a first ballot or like an initial year eligibility or whatever it's called, like whatever that stipulation Duncan was trying to get him on the ballot for. He is not eligible for. So
okay.
Anyway, podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. Degree in local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
This year, Ole Miss Athletics proudly salutes their great healthcare workers and needs your help in honoring them. Fans are encouraged to nominate their healthcare heroes by visiting OleMissGameDay.com/heroes. Selected entries will be featured on the Ole Miss Athletics 2020 Stadium Cup, as well as video boards on campus venues. For more information, visit OleMissGameDay.com/heroes. Rebel fans, Ole Miss Hoops will be here soon, we hope. Don't miss 1 minute of the action. Renew or purchase your 2020-2021 season tickets for Ole Miss men's and women's basketball by visiting OleMissTix.com. That's OleMissTix.com. We're also brought to you by the Iron Horse Grill. With live music 4 times per week, the Iron Horse Grill is the perfect place to enjoy lunch, dinner, or Sunday brunch. It is located at 320 East Pearl Street. It's home to the largest outdoor patio in Jackson. It's also home to the Mississippi Music Experience Museum on the second floor of the restaurant. That's the Iron Horse Grill, 320 East Pearl Street in Jackson. Summer is still here. It's still pretty warm out. It's perfect time to check out the new line of Dead Soxy No-Shows, 9 new styles to choose from. Find the style that fits your occasion. Hit promo code RebelGrove at checkout. Get 30% off the best dress socks you will ever put on. They also have several bundle packs currently on sale. So you can use your promo code in addition to the already deeply discounted prices at deadsoxy.com. DEADSOXY.com. Promo code Rebel Grove. Got a Mind on My Money up from earlier in the week. We taped one yesterday. It probably will be up sometime later today. That's brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. They're based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. They provide detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. They treat investing like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan built just for you. It's pintrust.com, PINNtrust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You get 10% off your first year's fees.
So, Eli Johnson, we mentioned it at the Open. He at least spent most of the offseason being considered as the starting center for Ole Miss after doing it last season. He opted out. He mentioned himself on social media that it was at least in part because of COVID-19. Obviously, we know his family situation with that through the offseason as well.
Yep.
And today he has entered the transfer portal. I assume to play somewhere else.
That'd be my assumption as well.
The question I don't know because I cover baseball, obviously. Can you do anything to get help from a scholarship standpoint for a team by doing that? Because in other sports, you would lose your scholarship by entering the transfer portal, like Knox LaPosser. He entered the transfer portal, losing his scholarship, which allowed Ole Miss to then go in and re-manipulate scholarship numbers.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But I don't know if that qualifies for full scholarship sports. Does that make sense? Like those equivalency sports would be a different deal there. So I don't know the answer. It was simply speculation on my part.
They have multiple scholarships available.
Yeah, I wouldn't think where that would be important.
Yeah.
It brainstormed, hit me when I was thinking.
That's actually a really creative thought on your part. I don't know. My gut feeling, and again, let me preface this by saying I could be so wrong because I just don't know, but I don't think so. My gut feeling is he wants to transfer someplace and play. And I guess now he would have 2 years to play because this year's a non-counting year. Right?
Well,
no one loses a year of eligibility.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So he could transfer and play 2 years someplace else.
I mean,
because he has a year of eligibility.
I mean, this can completely whatever. He could get all the education he could ever want. He could be completely with graduate degrees out the tail.
He could go ahead and get his doctorate.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I don't know how far along he is for a master's. I think fairly close. I don't know. That's a great question. I don't think it works like that in football.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
Because I'm trying to think with basketball. So Dude Collum was on scholarship, and then he entered the transfer portal.
I think it made him a walk-on when he came back.
And then I think they put him back on scholarship.
Oh, did they? See, I don't know. In baseball, the only way to change, because the way the stuff works, the only way to change the percentage is to go into the transfer portal, come back.
So if I sign
and
a
it allows
baseball,
you to start over.
if I sign with baseball and I start at 30%, I stay 30% for 4 years?
Well, no, it's a 1 year deal.
Okay.
But the year would have already started by the time that was necessary.
The reason I don't think this would be the motivation for Eli's thing is what I just said was they have multiple scholarships that are available, and I don't think they're going to go add 8 or 9 transfer guys here in the next 10 days. And you'd have to have transfer guys on campus in class by September the 4th, I think. And today's August the 20th. I mean, you got 9 days to do that. That doesn't feel like you're going to fill up 7 or 8 spots in 9 days.
Sure.
Pardon me.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I guess anything could happen, but I would be surprised.
Yeah, I don't like the chances. So,
by the way, the UCLA offensive lineman that entered the transfer portal, he went to Baylor. I've gotten a lot of asks about that.
Oh, really, Baylor?
He chose Baylor.
Okay.
Are there any more sappy columns to read? I mean, I sort of that was hit me right in the feels.
I went to see if any of the other freedom fighters had gone in and retweeted it or commented on it. I could not find any.
No.
Yeah.
He was abandoned in his moment of need. Woken did not retweet Mandel.
I mean, really, that's kind of almost for like friendly fire. I mean, he kind of got caught up by he got struck by his own bayonet a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah. Don't say it.
I pick an interesting weapon for you there to then play.
Don't do it. How about those Clippers, huh? Yep.
How about those Clippers? Is that today?
That was yesterday.
Oh.
Clippers really put it on your Mavs.
I'm sorry.
Game 5 was all Clippers from the jump.
Our boy couldn't handle it yesterday. Couldn't get it done by himself.
He was good, but the problem was that when Kawhi and Paul George are really good,
you're in trouble.
You have.
There's only so much you can do at that point.
You have your hands full. By the way, Avery says he's not going to get invited for shrimp cocktails.
Oh.
Carson,
Now, see, that's a...
and now that I've had it.
Oh, you did have it?
So Carson and I on Saturday night, it was just us because all the girls were in Fayetteville. I got some shrimp at LB's Meat Market right across from University. It was great. I just boiled them, put them on ice, cooled them off. So he and I had some shrimp cocktail. That's good stuff.
It's hot, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's really good.
So you're actually kind of jumping on board a little bit. Are we not making fun of St. Elmo's anymore?
Well, we'll still make fun of it, but now at least I sort of understand
You get it a little more.
I get a little why you want to go there so bad. I'll say this, that if I'm in Indianapolis, I'm going there and I'm getting the shrimp cocktail.
No, it's bathed in it.
Yeah, I know.
You're fine with that. Okay.
I put tons on.
Okay. All right.
Like at one point, Carson looked at me like,
it almost looks like a stew, the way it's just cocktail sauce around the shrimp.
I did it that way so that I could experience the moment. I thought it was outstanding.
Okay. I mean, I get it.
Will Burns wants to know, I think he's referring to me, where he says we want Rampage's thoughts on the possible boycott of Game 1 between Boston and Toronto. I think it would be an egregious error on the part of the NBA. And here's why. You can take all of the social justice stands you'd like. At the end of the day, you are a business. And the owners of those NBA franchises, who you are going to have to sit down with and negotiate a collective bargaining agreement soon, have lost a lot of money this year because of a pandemic. And the only way that they recoup any of that lost money is through the playoffs. And if you jeopardize the playoffs, you are jeopardizing their money. And if you take away their money, cool, you make your social justice statement. But don't be shocked when they look at you in December and say, we can't put fans in the arena. You screwed us last summer. You guys are on your own. We're not in any hurry to come back. We don't have an agreement. We're not making any money, but guess what, fellas? You're not either. We're going to wait for this thing to go away. We're going to wait until we can safely fill the arenas to the gills. And until then, you're on your own. And for LeBron James and the guys that make tons and tons of money, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and those kind of people, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Bet Terrence Davis would hurt. 10 through 14 guys on an NBA bench, they'd hurt. I don't think the country is in the mood to listen to a lot of NBA stuff right now.
No, there's been, for whatever reason, there's been a tenor change the last few weeks. There has. It has felt different in just what media I do consume. People you talk to that even kind of are middle of the road and can swing both directions on that. Very open to conversations, and then at the same time get very tired of it at some point too. I mean, it does. It feels like there is a certain amount of. Well, I tell you what it is. We had this conversation months ago. It feels like in this time period, I want to keep it. I mean, be fair here. I mean, there's some things that are worth whatever, but from how some people see it as overload, capital has been used up. It's kind of on empty a little bit. Hey, okay. Now you're it now. That's it. I'm not watching you. I'm done. Whatever. I mean, I don't know for sure. We've talked about this a few weeks ago. There's no guarantee that wasn't why golf's ratings were so dang good and basketball's were bad. I don't know that it was, but it could have been. Relative to their typical ratings, obviously.
Look, we get this, right? Because we run a message board where we get complaints every single day about politics. Every day.
Yeah.
A lot of people, rightly or wrongly, go to sports as a refuge.
An escape.
Yeah. A getaway. I'll give you an example. It's dumb. He doesn't have a vote. He won't have a vote for another 5 years. But this morning, Carson was ready for school. He was in a good mood. He turned on the TV, turned it to 206, because what he wanted to watch was highlights of last night's basketball games. Instead, ESPN started with politics. And I was listening to, I can't remember who it was, one of the coaches, and Carson hit the flip.
Hell, really?
Looking for something else. And I look back at him, and
the rope is long with Carson.
Very long. Because Carson has been, he's a young person. But he said, I'm tired of the politics. He's not alone. People that watch the NBA because they want to watch the NBA. You watch the NBA because you want to see, can Luka do it again? You watch the NBA to watch LeBron James's greatness. And then when LeBron James takes his bully pulpit and speaks on a topic that he's just not completely educated on, and he's not. LeBron James spoke after seeing an edited version of a video. What he saw was the final 13 seconds of a 26-second video. And the first 13 seconds do provide a different context. And I'm not justifying police brutality or anything like that, but we probably should at some point, to be socially responsible, have a conversation about this. Doc Rivers had some really interesting things to say last night. Doc Rivers' father was a police officer. He talked about the power of police unions. That when you say something like reforming police or defunding the police, it's not as easy as that. It's a more complicated topic than that. There's a lot of issues as it pertains to police. But when people night after night after night go to bed watching what's happening in Portland and now in Kenosha, and they wake up in the morning like we do and see the headlines, people killed, property destroyed, day after day, night after night, it wears you out. So the long-winded answer to the question about what do I think about the NBA, I think they should play tonight. You paid to play basketball. I'm not saying you should be just basketball machines, but you paid to play basketball. Play basketball.
Well, I think, too, look, there's going to be a certain segment that is very willing to take LeBron's word for a lot of things, that wants him to speak out no matter what. And, okay, there's also a segment that doesn't want him to ever say anything, and they, the whole shut up and dribble crowd. There's that.
Yeah.
The people in the middle, I feel like he's lost some of those people now that can go either way.
People like me.
Frankly, because of the graffiti thing that was never fully explained, and then some other topics throughout the time where they go, okay, I don't mind you using your platform, but that's ill-informed for this reason. It's that person who kind of goes, oh, okay. And again, two things. And this is something, it's a society issue, frankly. We don't get on like tons of big picture topics, but
there's football up on the side. If you want to read about football, it's on the site. I wrote about it, and we'll talk more about it, and I'll write more about Ryder Anderson later today. I still am going to write about Nick Broker. There's still football stuff to come, but yeah.
I mentioned how we have we and I mean, look, this is not my take necessarily. We talked about how there was no middle the other day. We talk about how everybody's so hyperbolic in every way, and everything's the best or the worst, and you're either all terrible or all good, and there's no nuance, there's no context, there's nothing.
Right.
Here's the other thing that happens. Today's society, today's media, two things can't be true at the same time. That's one of our biggest problems in the world right now, because you have a conversation about rhetoric or about conversations coming out of an instance like in Kenosha, the aftermath, and everybody goes, oh, see, you're justified. It's like, no, two things, same time.
Right.
Cops absolutely went above and beyond what they should have done. Absolutely. He never should have been shot 7 times in the back. Probably shouldn't have been shot at all.
Agreed.
100%, 100%.
But.
And now let's have this conversation. That's my point. Like, so many different things. We can have nuance of multiple things being also true. Because here's
the other side of that. The police weren't out looking for this guy. They were called to the scene of what appeared to be basically a domestic dispute.
Mm-hmm.
They must have known who they were dealing with. He had a record. His record was violent. So they're on edge. And the following is not meant as an insult towards law enforcement, but cops in towns like Kenosha, Wisconsin, what do you think? What Jeffrey and I had this conversation earlier this morning. What would you guess the starting salary for a police officer in Kenosha, Wisconsin is?
I don't know, $30-something thousand.
See, I went lower than that. I said 25, 26. Regardless, we're not talking about tons of money here. We're not talking about, I'm stereotyping, but I'm being honest. We're not talking about traditionally the very best and the very brightest.
We're pretty low. Per salary.com again, whatever. No, never mind. Sorry. Never mind. That's a criminal investigator. That's not the same thing. So, sorry, go ahead. Keep talking. I was looking for something.
Yeah. I'm guessing a beat cop makes in the 20s. So they go to this scene, and when you watch the video, the entire video, it's obvious that it is a highly charged, emotional, disconcerting environment. Have you seen it yet? You've not wanted to watch it.
Yeah, I chose not to.
Okay, so it's very loud. They're screaming. There are people all over the place, and they're trying to subdue Jacob Blake. It appears that they had tased him, but they're very clearly trying to subdue him and arrest him, and they fail in those efforts. The taser does not affect him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at that point, here's a guy who in his past has committed infractions with weapons, or at least one infraction with a weapon.
Sure.
They have to assume that he's armed. They're pulling him by the shirt, one of the officers is pulling him by his white T-shirt, trying to pull him away from getting into his vehicle, and he appears to reach into his vehicle. And again, I'm not saying I've never been a police officer. I don't want to be a police officer. I have no interest in being a police officer. Never, ever, ever. But if I'm a cop in that moment and he's reaching into his car, I'm on edge. Because if he reaches into his car and he gets a weapon and he turns that weapon on you, all bets are off. And in that moment, you're thinking about your own survival as well. I'm guessing, as a cop. If you and I are having a fight and you pull a gun on me, the fight's different. And if you're reaching into your car and I think it's to get a gun, I'm going to escalate. That's human nature. Do they need to be trained better? I don't know. I suppose. It appears that way. But
there's a lack of calm.
Yes.
That, look, the average person wouldn't have either, but you have that job. There appears to be a lack of calm that happens where they get very jittery quicker than maybe you would like for your cop to in a lot of these situations. There's no doubt about that. There's fear, there's anxiety, there's nervousness, whatever. And, I mean, that job above maybe most any other, level-headedness, breathe, take in your situation.
But then here's the part that people don't want to say out loud, and I don't understand why no one in the NBA can say this. Because young people are listening to NBA players. Hey, when the police tell you to do something, do it. Do it. Get through it, and then if you were wronged, you can pursue justice on the other side. You and I've talked about this. I've been pulled over. I don't like to drive with my wallet in my
we had this conversation yesterday.
In my seat, in my back pocket.
Sure.
So I put it in my console. And if I get pulled over, and I've gotten pulled over a couple of times, and the officer comes to my door, I put my hands on the wheel, I put my window down, I look at the officer, yes sir, yes ma'am. And I explained to them that my wallet is in this console. I can get it. I'm not armed. I can get it, or you can get it, whatever is more comfortable for you. respect. I'm not going to do anything at all to escalate this. And when someone goes, well, you're a white guy. But I'm telling you, that's what I would tell my kids, and all 3 of my kids are white. Never escalate something with the police, ever. You never argue with the police. You don't fight with the police. You obey the police, and if the police say you're under arrest, even if you feel that arrest is completely unjustified, let them take you in, and we will take it from there. I promise I'll hire an attorney, and if it turns out that you're right, that you were arrested unjust, I will go after that son of a bitch job with a passion. But we're going to do that through the legal channels. We're not going to do it by fighting them on the street, because guess what? Anybody with a modicum of common sense knows that the moment that you begin to resist arrest, it's like a baseball game. You know, they do the win probabilities.
Sure, yeah.
The probability of things going, pardon my language here, the probability of things going really shitty goes up exponentially the moment you resist arrest. Now, someone might argue, yeah, it goes up even more if you're black than it does if you're white. And I'm not arguing that.
Sure.
But I'm a white guy. And the moment I push back against a police officer, my odds of a bad outcome go up. And the moment that they tell me I'm under arrest and I resist it, they go way up. And the moment that I do anything that strikes a police officer as you physically confronting that officer, well, now the odds are in a really bad place. As opposed to, if I don't resist arrest and I obey the officer's orders, I'm almost certainly not getting shot right there. And I don't know why we can't have these 2 conversations, to your point, at the same time in a more civil way. Because in both cases this summer, in both of the cases that have led to this national outrage, the people that were shot resisted arrest in a violent way. It's one of the reasons I have no respect for our field right now. I'll be honest with you. I have none. Zero. Because so much, in my opinion, of the George Floyd story would have been not different, because he did not deserve to be shot and killed. Not shot and killed, but suffocated and killed.
Yeah.
But the story that got told by the media was not the real story. Because when you saw, and it took a British newspaper to do this, when you saw the body cam footage, all 20 some odd minutes of it, you said, whoa, that's not the story that was reported here. Did he deserve to die? No. But George Floyd was saying, I can't breathe long before he was put on the ground. He asked to be put on the ground. Did he deserve to die? Absolutely not. And that's not what I'm saying. But the media didn't report that story responsibly. The media reported that story in a way that was designed to escalate. And that's not the media's job. And this story, when the first video is put out and it's clearly edited to tell a completely different story, because what the first video shows is this man walking to his car, assaulted by police, bang, 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 shot 7 times. The whole video tells a different story. And to your point, you can have an argument and a discussion about, should he have been shot 7 times? No.
Yeah.
Did he do everything wrong from a civilian standpoint that led to that moment? Absolutely.
We will,
and I hope this doesn't lead to me getting in trouble, because I think I'm being right where I typically am, which is middle of the road.
It's it's multiple conversations simultaneously, one after the other, whatever. Just have them, either however you want to go about doing it. So, podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. Immune Support Med Packs. Pharmacists developed combinations of vitamins and supplements designed to boost your immune system lung health, GI regulation, and immune regulation as well. It is a 30-day supply of vitamin C, zinc, NAC, probiotic, and vitamin D3. It's the best combination of over-the-counter supplements to prepare your body for viruses. You can find out more at Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs, G&M in Oxford, or give them a call at 662-236-2222.
The folks over at Blue Delta Jeans are excited to announce that the field for the second annual Delta Cup Golf Tournament at Mossy Oak Golf Club on Friday, October the 16th, that's the day before Ole Miss plays at Arkansas, has officially been filled. Due to popular demand, Blue Delta Jeans has added a second field for Sunday, October the 18th. The second field offers the same great perks as Friday, all the cart and green fees, food and drink on the course, long distance and closest to the pin competitions, and a brand new pair of Blue Delta jeans for every golfer. As of the other day, they had 5 remaining spots. I don't know how many that is now, so it's probably less than 5. So if you're interested, you need to hustle. Get in touch with Tyler, Tyler, at BlueDeltaJeans.com for more information and to get your team signed up. You want to get away after what I just did? I probably need one. It's brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John was telling me the other day about some deals down in the Keys, rooms that normally go for $1,100, $1,200 a night, going for less than $300 a night. Those deals won't last forever. So if you want to find out about deals like those or deals in other places that are similar to those, get in touch with John and give him some parameters, give him a budget, and let him help you plan the vacation of your dreams. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first book trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. Also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, that is the place to go. Located just off Interstate 55 in Grenada, Mississippi. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com.
So we kind of thought about doing this at the Open. We didn't. We've hit several other topics. Story at rebelgrove.com about Jerrion Ealy, about what his potential could be under Lane Kiffin in this offense. And there are at least some potential comparisons from a usage standpoint to a certain USC running back from about 15 years ago.
Yeah, so I asked Jerrion about Reggie Bush. It's the first time we've talked to Jerrion since
season.
November.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you guys have talked to him for baseball, but
yeah.
First time I talked to him in a while, and I was like, hey, what were your thoughts when Ole Miss hired Lane Kiffin? And how, did you hear some of the Reggie Bush comparisons that were made pretty quickly? And he said he grew up, that was one of his favorite players, mimicked him, similar in style, similar in size, similar in kind of the way they play. And if you go back and look, Lane Kiffin was the offensive coordinator in 2005 at USC when Reggie Bush won the Heisman. And if you go back and look at his usage, and I did for the story that I just wrote, it's probably very similar to the way that Ole Miss intends to use Jerrion Ealy. Ole Miss is clearly planning to use 3, maybe 4 running backs. They're going to use Ealy out of the backfield. They're probably going to try to do some things to get Ealy the ball in space. Probably use him some in the return game. He's special. He can really run. His high-level speed is very high, and he was talking about how he's really benefited from Kevin Smith, the new running backs coach. And Jerrion better than I do. He's always been a very positive, kind of happy kid, and he's ready to go.
Yeah, look, reading from the live stream here, nobody's saying Jerrion Ealy is exactly Reggie Bush. I mean, Reggie has
no, not at all.
That is ridiculous.
But they're going to try to use him in the same way that they used Bush at USC.
It's a more fair thing than every time we recruited, every time we covered any recruit under Houston, when it was, hey, the next Dex. Hey, guys, next Dex.
Over and over.
He's the next Dex. Well, okay, so he's the next 5'8", 160-pound running back that you're bringing in.
But it kind of goes along with what I was talking about with quarterbacks, which is what if you're Ole Miss and you're trying to sign elite-level running backs for the future, right? You are telling them, hey, watch number 9 here. The way that we're using him, he's a sophomore. He's got one more year after this one. The way that we're using him is how we are planning to use you.
Yeah, I think you're going to see some pretty creative, weird stuff throughout the year. And again, it's all predicated off getting these guys the ball in as much space as possible and putting the ball in the best players' hands as often as possible. I mean, I know football's rocket science, but at the end of the day, it's best players. How many times can we get them the ball in the best situations? That's pretty much that's your offense.
Only the smartest people can play and coach football.
So.
He has high-level speed. He's elusive. Had a very good season last year. Ran for almost 800 yards. Had about 200 yards receiving. In an offense that, frankly, did not throw the ball very effectively at all. And he's one of their weapons that they're going to try to utilize on offense this year. And they have another couple of backs, and Connor and Parrish and potentially Bullock, who I think are going to be guys that are also used in different ways. And I think that's going to allow them to try to do with Ealy some of the things that they were able to do with Bush, and that's get him into space. And that's not comparing Ealy to Bush, and I don't see how that's confusing to people, but some people simply refuse to hear nuance. If they had a Reggie Bush, it would be another thing. But if you want to go out and be able to recruit the next Reggie Bush, you've got to show him how you would use him in your offense.
Who's the closest to Reggie we've had in college football over the last
I don't know.
10 years? Because, I mean, dude. I mean, he's got a soft spot in my heart from the Saints, but.
Oh, he was.
Field role really well, too, there in that stretch.
When he and Deuce McAllister were together.
Yeah. There for a little bit before the tread came off.
The moment I remember most about Bush that rookie season was in the NFC title game as he ran away from Urlacher.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have turned around and pointed at him. But in that moment, I thought, wow, these guys might go to the Super Bowl.
McCaffrey's a good example. That's good. Different guy a little bit, though.
But similar.
Yeah, that's not awful. I don't hate that. And we're gonna be the champions here to do the other race too on comparisons. We can do this. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's
McCaffrey's an elite running back. I mean, dude.
But yeah, it's that type of guy. I mean, there's a little bit of comparison in what Kamara is able to do. Kamara's a more complete running back.
Yeah.
Than Reggie.
Yeah, he's the guy that how he wasn't a star at the college level is beyond me.
Couldn't get him the ball. It didn't work.
It's the damnedest thing. Who's someone similar to Bush at the college level?
I mean, there are tons, I'm sure. This is not the strong suit off the top of my head. I would really need a minute.
Darren Sproles at Kansas State?
Yeah, but that's back in the day. I mean,
that's back before Bush, wasn't it?
Right there at it. Yeah. Yeah, Butch Jones screwed that up. Butch Jones could not get the ball to Alvin Kamara. Think about that.
Will Clements, it's interesting you say this. Will Clements mentions T.J. Yeldon, and that was one of the names that Jerrion referred to today. Yeah. He was excited to play for the guy who had created an offense for Bush, and then at Alabama had created an offense for Yeldon. And who was the other guy that he named? I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Maurice Jones-Drew. I don't know. This is not my strong suit.
Yeah, that's. The offense is going to score a lot of points. I really do believe that. I think offensively they're going to score points.
Yeah, I do too.
Now they're going to give up some points, but
I mean, your concerns offensively is that, like we talked about the other day, is the secondary receivers. No one's really proven. I mean, they have some potential guys there, but no one's emerged as a consistent.
You need that step by the Mingo and the Dennis Jackson and those guys.
Yes, I mean, a couple of those guys have to come out.
Yeah, sure.
And then you have to stay healthy up front. Now, I think up front starting lineup is going to be okay.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, and really good in some spots. But, man, you're an injury or two away from that getting.
And you got to have really good steps by the Jalen Cunninghams of the world. Like, somebody like Jalen.
Like I'm not prepared to say he's going to be a great player.
Yeah.
That's to me, that's the hyperbolic kind of crap that, frankly, it's the part of us missing fall camp that I'm glad we're missing.
Yeah.
Because we don't get to see him against a team.
Yeah.
And it would be so simple to watch him in drills and go, oh, he really looks good.
How many snaps this year is expected of a guy like Jeremy James? Are you trying to play him? Are you playing him a lot? What are you doing? I mean,
yeah,
that kind of guy. So I don't know. Yeah, Ralph Webb's the answer, whoever Vanderbilt's running back is. Keyshawn Vaughn. Larry Rose the third.
Where is your boy Ralph Webb now?
He's been cut a lot. He keeps getting cut. A lot of cut. I mean, look, when you run behind that Vanderbilt line for 4 years, you lose some tread, okay?
Yeah, those tires were.
He got substantially worse as it went.
Those tires were bald.
Oh,
nothing.
What's
on
the
them.
offense handed to Ralph?
I wonder if Ralph ever woke up like on Saturday and went, "Isn't there a damn coronavirus somewhere?" I mean,
he went Vanderbilt education, Vanderbilt education, Vanderbilt education.
Oh, bless his heart.
Because dude as a sophomore was an all SEC caliber running back. Like if you could do
he
trades,
he was a bad boy.
they'd have had some evidence for old Ralph. But yeah, man, I don't know. Last thing, Marshall Henderson back in Oxford, going to be a graduate manager for the basketball team under Kermit Davis. Andy applauding it on Twitter. I saw.
Yeah, sure.
Andy going, thank God, and I don't have to deal with it. You have at it.
Well, I think Marshall's probably settled down a little bit.
Yeah. Look, if he hadn't, Kermit wouldn't bring him in. I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
This is not strictly for entertainment purposes. Or it might be strictly for entertainment purposes.
It's the one thing as Kermit Davis gets as close today as Ole Miss has probably ever been on a 5-star basketball recruit. Andy was one of 2 coaches in the country willing to take a stab on Marshall Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can remember talking to Andy about Marshall Henderson before he got here and him saying, look, he's really good, but he's really different. And it's going to be.
It's going to crash or burn. Like it's crashing or burning or working out now.
I can't remember exactly what he said. I think one day he said it's going to be kind of touch and go. And it was. For 2 years. Kind of touch and go.
Every day it was just like, okay.
But he was like that. This is an opportunity to get a program-changing player. And he was.
Oh, look. 2 sports that catapulted off hitting JUCOs at such important positions. Ole Miss football and basketball. Bo Wallace, Chad Kelly, and Stephon Moody. I know it was transfer, not JUCO, but Stephon Moody and Marshall Henderson.
Yeah.
Just
A+.
I mean, because if any of those 4 don't hit in their respective seasons, it's no shot. It's over. You have no chance of anything.
Oh, if Bo Wallace goes to Mississippi State or Texas or whatever, the freeze thing never gets off the ground.
No, it doesn't work.
Never gets off the ground.
Barry Burnetti's the quarterback that first year, and I love Barry Burnetti.
Yeah, but they don't win 6 games.
No.
They win 3 or 4 games.
Yeah. They might still stumble their way past Auburn because they were a train wreck.
Nah, they wouldn't have beaten Auburn.
Okay, then no. Then. So.
I shouldn't say
had a
that.
lot of luck there.
I don't remember the two. That was 2000.
They beat Arkansas on Bryson Rose's field goal in the last play of the game in Little Rock.
Yeah.
They beat Auburn up pretty good. Although Jeff Scott broke a run there kind of late to extend it, and they beat State. They went 3-5 in the league, 3-3 out of league because Texas popped them in the non-league.
Yeah.
So it was those 3, and then they scared A&M. Should have won. Yeah. And they scared LSU, right? Was that the LSU year?
Yeah, they went down there and scared them.
Marquise Summers diving into the end zone game, wasn't it? Was that 12? Or am I wrong?
That's a good question.
Or was that 10?
I think
was that Masoli when Masoli scared them?
I think that was 10.
Okay, whatever.
In 12, they just played them a good game.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah, you're making me.
Yeah. Scared LSU, someone says. So they must have.
Okay.
I don't recall that game.
Freeze is on Cameo now? Huh. I didn't know that.
Well.
Wonder how much.
At least he's talking and not watching.
He's got a lot of university issues at Liberty right now. Got some stuff going on. What?
What Falwell? You ever decide if he's resigning or not?
He's getting a lot of money to resign, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, a lot of money. Yeah. It's working out pretty well for him financially.
Pool boys are expensive.
On that note,
hard to keep that pool clean, man. I mean, take my word for it. Sometimes you clean the pool and you clean the pool and you clean the pool and you go back out there 3 hours later and there's stuff all in it. So if you can hire yourself a pool boy, it's a game changer. Talking about cleaning pools, man.
Sure.
I don't know why you have a problem with people trying to keep their pool clean.
$125 for freeze.
Oh, I thought you meant $125 for the pool boy.
$125 for freeze.
I think he got compensated in other ways.
You can do it, whatever a chat is, you can do that for $5.99. I have no clue. Yeah.
Bet.
Your request will be filled in 7 days.
I bet it will.
That's what it says. He's donating all proceeds, though.
Oh, yeah.
All proceeds donated to Angel Armies, an organization dedicated to combating the child welfare crisis in America.
That's good. That's nice.
Just found it, looked it up. So
Falwell got a charity?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Don't know what Jerry's doing.
Speaking of money and charity, brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. They offer their customers the absolute best cash checking account. It's called Kasasa. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances, refund ATM fees nationwide. They also offer online bill pay and mobile check deposit using the online app. To learn more, it's liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668 OUB, FDIC insured. My mailbag is up earlier today. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, residential family homes. 662-567-2573 or 662-842-3844. And we're brought to you by the law firm of Bain, Moss, and Bowen, PLLC. Located in historic downtown Corinth, their firm practices a wider range of law, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. Bain, Moss, and Bowen is the only firm in Mississippi made up of a sitting state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit court judge. Their experience is unmatched in that regard, and you can tap into it by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth or by calling them at 662-287-1620.
So, a little bit of, not necessarily news. We're really close to launching the online store from a merch standpoint. Sent Neal a couple photos last night. Got a few more to add, and we'll get that going. So just kind of stay on the lookout. Some of the items that you guys have requested from us will slowly start being available. Actually, not really slowly. Everything but a couple will be available as soon as we get this thing launched. We have ordered a sample just to make sure the quality is up to par, because we don't want to give you anything crappy. We want to make sure it's as good as it can be, what we're expecting it to be. And I think we're in good shape, but nonetheless,
it looks good.
It did look good.
Yeah.
So pretty close there to getting that done.
Should I tell her? Avery asked if there's a 4% shirt.
There might be.
It's possible.
That's a possibility. So anyway, we will. We'll get to that when we know a little more about that and what we can say. So anyway.
Will does want a phone case. Will Clements wants a phone case.
Neal and I discussed phone cases this morning. That is a potential option that we can do if we are so inclined. So yeah, that is doable if we would like to make that happen. We've got a couple different logos, couple different designs that we are trying out for some different things. Still working on a couple of those now. So anyway, that's kind of where we are with that. And anyway, coverage.rebelgrove.com. We got plenty of stuff there. We'll have more to you as well. We'll be back tomorrow night for our Thursday night show, and we'll talk to you again very, very